Welcome to the 2026 edition of the Early National Signing Day here in Charlottesville, Virginia, in this great football operations center. I'm Ahmad Hawkins, but you guys don't want to hear from me. You hear from me enough on the Virginia Sports Radio broadcast at every Wahoo football game with John Freeman. But since we're talking about recruits, since we're talking about reloading, because we have a championship team that's playing in the ACC championship on Saturday, I have Justin Sparrows, the man behind all the moving parts. Would they call you the Wizard and the Wizard of Oz?
I don't know about that, man. Listen, I'm just here to serve and support. That's all.
He's humble. He's appreciative, and we appreciate you for tuning in right now. We have a great show on tap. Since we are gearing up for our championship game in Charlotte, we won't have our assistant coaches, but we will have our coordinators, our head coach. But we will have all the important people behind the scenes that allow us to build this roster that has us playing for an ACC championship. So why not start with Justin Sparrows? Can you give us just an overview of just what we're inheriting this year for this National Signing Day?
Of course. Well, Hawk, it's great to be back with you, man. It feels like just yesterday we were here doing this last year here in the Hardy Center. So it's great to be back celebrating this 26 class. And today, like always, today is such a culmination of just a lot of hard work from a lot of different people. And it's a celebration, not only for us, but for the families of these signees. So, man, it's just tremendous to be putting the finishing touches on this class. Several years in the making. Some of these guys, man, we've been recruiting from the day that we touched down here in January 2022. So really excited about this class. I know you kind of hit on it. We got some stuff going on this week here in Charlottesville, prep for Charlotte. So our assistant coaches won't be joined here on the show today. Still going to have the coordinators on the show, which will be exciting for the fans to hear from. Going to hear from our head coach, Tony Elliott, going to hear from our general manager, Tyler Jones. But you're also going to hear from a lot of the folks behind the scenes that really do all the heavy lifting to put this class together. So a lot of our recruiting staff will join us, and I'm fired up for the fans to hear from them.
You said you're fired up. You want to hear from the fans, and the fans are still fired up from Saturday night. So I want to hear your thoughts on what that felt like bringing the Commonwealth Cup back here in Charlottesville.
Man, just incredible. Really, I mean, it was very, very just rewarding for Coach Elliott and the players and Dr. Williams. That was really my first thought, is just happy for Coach Elliott, the players, Dr. Williams, and all of our fans. A lot of hard work went into, not just last night, but the whole season. So seeing it all come to fruition, 10-win season here in the regular season, going to Charlotte, and man, we got work to do. So we're not done yet.
Yeah, and speaking of work, we're going to talk about recruits. I know a lot of recruits have been to the big games. We played in Florida State on the Friday night.
Sure. And
we just played Virginia Tech here for the Commonwealth Cup. What was the atmosphere like for the recruits on just the build-up for that?
Hey, well, listen, special shout-out to the fans this season at Scott Stadium. I think, we have a real home field advantage when the fans, the students show up and show out. Every single home game this year was incredible. I think we had a record for night games, here in Scott Stadium, and that atmosphere creates a difference. The feedback from recruits this year was outstanding from an atmosphere standpoint. Guys, it's still buzzing, right? It's Wednesday here. I'm still getting texts from recruits and families saying, like, man, that atmosphere on Saturday, that was incredible. You mentioned Florida State. All my years working in college football, that was one of the most special nights that I've been a part of, and so that one, the atmosphere against Stanford was electric. Washington State was electric. We were just fortunate to have some electric atmospheres, and then it really creates a difference in the minds of recruits. So, fans, listen, that's a difference maker. No question about it.
Well, fans, there you go. You heard it from the man behind the glass that you only hear about, you rarely see, but when you see him, you don't even know it's him. This is Justin Sparrows, the guy that's spearheading, retooling this roster that allow us to have a championship roster. And as you stay tuned, you're going to start to learn more and more about what's next for the Virginia Cavaliers in the 2026 edition of the Early National Signing Day here in Charlottesville in this great football center.
Appreciate you all.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, man. Yes, sir.
Welcome back to the 26th edition of the National Early Signing Day show. I'm your host, Ahmad Hawkins. I got a special treat for you guys, all right? So this gentleman sitting to my left, to the right of your screen, do you remember on social media you saw an addition in September and you saw a handsome man smiling? Well, this is who it is. This is Corey Martin, the director of player personnel. And the fun fact for all the people that were kind of upset we lost to Wake Forest and they're doing well, he helped build that roster, and now he's with us. So welcome to Wahoo.
I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here. It's been exciting. A great year, and family's happy to be here in Charlottesville.
Yeah, and you hit the ground running. Right now, I'm gonna have you. First of all, I want to say thank you again for joining the Wahoo family.
Absolutely.
Just seeing from afar what you can do with a roster. I'm excited what you can do with our current roster.
I appreciate
and with
that.
our recruits. And right now, I want you to really break down the quarterback position. Eli Hammock, signing him out of North Carolina.
Sure.
What did you see in Eli?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, first of all, Eli is your prototypical NFL body type quarterback, right? Great size, great features. What I love about Eli is he can make every throw, on the field, and he can do it from the pocket. He can do it outside of the pocket. And where he's dangerous now is he can pull the ball down and run, So when he gets running at 225 pounds, I mean, he's a load coming downhill. So you'll watch his tape and you'll see him throw the ball 50, 60 yards in the air. You'll see him off balance, off platform, making big time throws. So it'll be a great addition to our quarterback room here.
Yeah, and when you're evaluating a young quarterback, just for young aspiring, college quarterbacks, so what are some of the things that you evaluate?
Well, I think the biggest thing is obviously the arm talent, right? Being able to make those big time throws in tight windows here in college football, which he has. He has zip on the ball, he has good accuracy, good ball placement. And then we like the guys that can move, Obviously there's big time edge rushers in this conference, so guys that can get out of trouble and create, off platform and off schedule is really important. And he showed that throughout his entire high school career, and he's leading his team to a possible state championship here soon, and so we're really excited for him and for him to be a part of our family moving forward.
And what's the difference now? I know when I played, we didn't have social media; it was just telephone calls. How's the recruiting process for the director of player personnel?
Yeah, so I think Coach Elliott is big on relationships, right? So we're building the relationship from the start. We want to get around the young men. We want to get them on a game day visit. We want to get them on grounds here. And just spend a lot of time around the player and get to know the person. We want to bring the right person into this building, into this university, and into this community. So, that's the biggest part. We want to bring high character men into this university, but also bringing guys in that have the talent and skill set to win in the ACC.
Well, one last question for you. I know you've been hitting the ground running since you came here in September. Probably hadn't took a day off just yet. You're not going to tell us if you did, because that's, you just work hard.
That's right.
But what was it feeling like for you just being a part of the Commonwealth clash that took place on Saturday?
I mean, it was electric. I told Justin Spears after the game, what a crowd. I mean, what a crowd that was at that game. And we had big time recruits on campus, and that they noticed those things. So the fans, the crowd, the community, they play a big part in this recruiting process too.
Yeah.
And it's to our advantage right now. We've had an unbelievable fan base this year, and I'm excited for years to come. We're going to build something special here and keep stacking these classes together, and a lot of success moving forward.
Well, fans, did you hear that? You make a difference.
Absolutely.
You make a difference, and you were loud on the hill, you were loud in the bowl, and Corey's been working since September, haven't had a day off yet. It's not going to get a day off because we got a championship game on Saturday, and he got to keep recruiting and keep retooling, and we appreciate you, Corey.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Yes, sir. Y'all stay tuned for more of the 2026 edition of the National Early Signing Day here from the Hardy Operations Center. Welcome back. Right now, we have Offensive Coordinator Des Kitchen on our 2026 Early National Signing Day show. Coach, how you doing today?
Doing really good, coming off of this past weekend's win. So
yeah. First of all, before we get to our recruits, what was that feeling like on Saturday night? Just beating your rival and then punching your ticket to the ACC championship.
A lot of just satisfaction for our head man, Coach Tony Elliott, right, and the players in this program, and seeing the celebration of them and the happiness on their faces, the hard work they've been putting in, since 364 days ago, right, from this point, and to be in this point where we're at 10-2, with an opportunity to go win the ACC championship, and to be able to do that, we knew we had to win the state championship first, and bring the cup back home, and now we're going down to Charlotte to go get the next championship.
And as Biggie Smalls would say, more money, more problems, because when you're successful, that's more money, so you got more problems. and you address some problems with your recruiting.
Yeah.
You got some athletes coming in at wide receiver. I guess we could start right here in VA with Mr. Damari Carter, aka D1 from Verona High School. What did you like in recruiting with?
Yeah, that recruitment started probably 2, maybe 3 years ago, and watching him play basketball as we were down in Richmond as a full staff and scouring the town or the city of Richmond with multiple other guys. And you saw the athleticism on the basketball court. We had him in camp for a 7-on-7. Got to see him 2 different times at the VA Showcase recruiting in the spring, and his competitive nature. So I like the versatility he's going to bring to us, playing on the outside as our X or our Z receiver, with the speed, ability to go up and get the football, and the physicality because he's a defensive player as well.
And when you talk about X and Z receivers, Coach, what's the difference? What is the Z receiver and what's
So the X receiver for us offensively is predominantly to the boundary receiver, and then our Z is our field guy. He's more he has a little more versatility as a motion guy. He can line up in the slot too, depending on the formation sets. Whereas our X receiver is our boundary guy, or if we go formation and boundary, he can be our single to the field if we want to get matchups. So we feel like with his versatility as a player, he can plug and play in either of those spots.
Nice. And you went to the state of Georgia again when they got Jack Rhodes.
Yep. So Jack's another come from a good program down in Augusta, slot player for us, but also could probably play out the Z position as well, and just has a lot of toughness and grit, and a really competitive kid.
Yeah, and last but not least, we had Dylan Cope from Alabama.
Yep. Went down to Alabama and got pulled one. I think we went and got one, right? That was one Coach Mims had been recruiting. And, went down and watched him in the spring. Wanted to just validate some things that we saw on tape. Wanted to make sure we was getting the speed piece that we would pursue in this class. And he showed that out there in his practice. And then obviously this season, he's had a really good season from a high school program that's a winning program. And that's another big thing that we want to continue to attract in our high school recruiting. Young men who are coming from winning programs to add to the culture of what we've already established.
Well, yeah, Coach, looking at what you have coming in, what you have on your roster, what you have accomplished this year, what's next for the Cavaliers offense? Because you are the offensive coordinator.
Yeah. Obviously, first task at hand is going to win this ACC championship. But from a recruiting standpoint, right, we got to continue to add depth, not just depth, but high caliber depth, right? So for us to maintain this level of play and even get better, because we still got room to improve, as we look at the big picture, moving forward. And the recruiting piece is a big piece of that, especially from the high school standpoint. We truly believe in still recruiting the high school prospects and building that foundation with them and then supplementing it with the transfer portal.
Well, Coach, we appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man gearing up for this championship game in Charlotte. Anything you want to let the fans know before you get out of here?
Hey, show up in Charlotte, root loud, and let's go get this W.
Well, you heard it from the offensive coordinator, Mr. Des Kitchen. I'm Ahmad Hawkins. Make sure you stay tuned. We have more on tap for this early National Signing Day, the 26th edition. Welcome back to the 26th edition of the National Early Signing Day. I'm your host, Ahmad Hawkins, here in the Hardy Football Operations Center. I have a special guest, and it was my choice to talk to Mr. Adam Choice, who is the offensive recruiting coordinator. So all the guys you see on offense that you like, Adam had a hand in it. And as far as the type of recruits that we get, he's a living representation of what Coach Elliott looks for in a recruit, because who were you recruited by again?
I was recruited by Coach Tony Elliott back in the day.
You see that? Man, look how the Lord works. So first of all, appreciate you for joining me, man.
Appreciate you having me.
Before we get to the recruits and what this show is all about, can I just get your reaction on Saturday night, being a part of the Commonwealth Cup and seeing the Commonwealth Cup stay here in Charlottesville?
Listen, so being a transplant, I guess, coming in, I didn't wasn't fortunate enough to go to school here, but being in this environment, being at UVA for the time that I've been here, I realized the importance of it. And being here on Saturday, you feel the rivalry. And just getting that win on Saturday, I felt the sigh of relief with the rest of the fans, the lifelong fans, because that's something that this team has been working for all year. It's been a goal. I know the seniors wanted it. I know even the transfers wanted it. That's a game of significance for a lot of people, and I felt that weight just lift off my shoulders with the rest of the guys, because that was a huge win for us to get to where we want to go. So a huge win, huge moment for the Hoos.
Yeah, and I like what you said. Even the transfers realize how important it is. And you called yourself a you here, man. You're who?
I'm here.
Once you're who, we don't care where. You here, all right? And you still got on.
Yeah.
So I know you like that, right?
Yeah.
Coming from Clemson. So let's jump into 3 recruits that we're going to discuss. First, a young man that's similar to you when you came out of high school, Mr. Jayon Williams from St. Francis Academy, running back / athlete.
Yeah.
Can you talk about just what he brings to the table?
So Jayon is a dynamic athlete. We had the pleasure of having him in our camp, and we got to see his ability live. You know, he's a very developed kid already. You know, he's explosive, powerful. He can do many things. He's very versatile. He can spin it. I don't think many people really will appreciate that, but he can spin the ball. He can also run. He can break tackles. He's tough, physical. He's a football player. He's what you want in your program. He's going to do a lot of big things here for the Hoos.
You keep saying spinning for a running back, and I keep spinning my memory back to Saturday and Jamari throwing the Sage Ennis. So y'all think y'all slick. Y'all keep getting these former guys that can spin it playing running back. Next up, we got Mr. Dylan Beal, offensive lineman, Lambert, right down there in Georgia.
Yep.
What are you saying, Mr. Beal?
So being from Atlanta, being in that area, Dylan playing offensive tackle at Lambert High School, you know, that he plays a level of competition just in that state, in that area, that you don't get at many places. So he brings a type of maturity. Watching this film, he's a guy who's going to give complete effort. He's going to strain. He's going to try and finish blocks. He's a big frame, big body.
Yeah.
And he's going to do. He's going to be one that, you know, we're going to get him to work and get him in. I think he gets here early. I'm sorry. He's going to have time to develop and learn the playbook, and he's going to be advanced in that matter. And he can contribute probably early those first couple of years, but really expect him to have a role just on the field, wherever that may be. Yeah. But he's going to be one that's we're happy to have, and we expect big things of.
And, you know, we love to welcome in the big bodies. Our big bodies this year showed a lot of versatility. Yeah. So that speaks to your ability to view talent and what they bring to the table, and Coach Heffernan's ability to coach them up.
For sure.
And lastly, Mr. Mikey Gadia, another offensive lineman, Hun School in New Jersey, Brick City.
Yeah. So Mikey Gadia, he was one that we were really excited about, just due to the fact, like I said, we try to recruit players that play at a high level. Mm-hmm. You know, Hun School, they play a national schedule. They even played Jayon at St. Francis this year. So very competitive team, very competitive area, very competitive kid. Mm-hmm. He's a ready-made guy. You know, he plays tackle, long arms. He's got big hands, big features. He's gonna be one that, you know, we are expecting to have high hopes for.
Yeah.
Just watching his tape, watching his film, you know, he moves. You wouldn't think that he was an offensive lineman the way he moves. He's a very light on his feet kind of guy. He can play with length. He can play with toughness. He can play with grit. Yeah. Just being from that area, you know, they do well. You know, they have the football mentality where, you know, we're gonna work harder and we're gonna outwork you, and that's who he is. You know, he's just a really tough, tenacious guy who's gonna give it his all. He's a very smart kid, and just his ability to learn and pick up the game and to be able to, you know, the intangibles part of it, like to think without having to think too much, you know, just react, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I think he brings that to the table, and he's gonna be one to be excited about for sure.
I like that you said tenacious.
Yeah.
That reminds me of 77 Noah Josie right there. Yeah. Shout out to Noah, because anytime I feel like we gotta get a first down and run the ball, we're gonna run behind 77. So
yes, sir. Yeah. And Mikey wears 77. He does.
Yeah. That's the Lord working again, because that's how we gonna end your segment. I mean, that's the greatest thing ever right there. Yeah. West 77. I spoke with Noah, tenacious. We got 3 guys that you broke down. Before we get out of here, anything for the fans traveling down to Charlotte?
Hey, bring the noise, bring the juice. We need it. Go Hoos.
Adam Choice, the offensive recruiting coordinator. I was gonna say offensive coordinator, but I don't want Dad to get mad at me. Y'all stay tuned, man. We got more on tap for this 26th edition of the National Early Signing Day. I'm Ahmad Hawkins. Welcome back to our 26th edition of the Early National Signing Day Show. I'm your host, Ahmad Hawkins, here at the Hardy Operations Center. Fans, I got a treat for you guys, right? It's a recruiting show. We learn about recruits. We hear from the coaches. We hear from director player personnel, the GMs. All that's fine. But I have a special guest. I have the head coach of visits, Miss Karina Hargraves, here in the building. How are you doing, Miss Hargraves?
I'm doing great. I'm fired up. Had a great win against Virginia Tech. Had a lot of great recruits here in state. Can't be any better than this.
Yeah, and I was talking off camera, and I told her, usually when I interact with her, she's so locked in and she's focused. She's still a little locked in, but she's not as focused as what she's usually focused on. She's focused on what to talk about on the show. So I just called you the head coach of visits.
Yes.
Can you take us behind the scenes of what goes into a visit? Because all we see on the social media is pictures in the uniform and what's going on in the stadium. How is it for you to construct all of that, what it takes place on a visit?
I mean, you ask a recruit, that might be their most favorite part, right? It's the most important part to them, but there's so much that goes into that behind the scenes, even logistically when they're here on grounds, even just getting them here.
Yeah.
Right? Having to get the transportation, the flights, the car services, things like that, even picking them up from the airport. And my job is to make that whole process as seamless as possible. Having all the answers to the questions before they even get to ask them. Right? And then the fun part, when they're actually here, I get to make sure they all have fun.
Yeah.
We have to do, your meetings meet with academics, go on the grounds tours, things like that. But we like to have some fun around here too.
Yeah.
We let the parents kind of let loose a little bit. We do a couple things with them. We have our kids that come on grounds, they get to hang out with our players, right? That's, I think, probably the best recruiting tool that we have is our players. So everything from start to finish, everything they do here, making it as seamless as possible, making sure they have fun, making sure the staff has fun too.
I like to share, it's always a funny recruiting story that John Freeman likes to ask me about on air, and I'm not going to give that university the clout, but you don't have a recruit go meet with a head coach while he's on a stationary bike in the middle of a 50-yard line, do you?
Absolutely not.
All right, now that we got that out the way, that the Who's don't do that. So you talked about just making it seamless, okay? And we know like some recruits have big families, but we never think about when we get off the plane that the car is there or the van. You get to the hotel room, you check right in, there's gifts there, and then you go to not only the field but the locker room and you take the pictures. You set all that up. How is that? Like, what's the time that goes into doing all of that and making sure you stay on time?
Absolutely. Well, first and foremost, I can't do this all by myself.
Okay.
Right? We have an incredible recruiting staff. Everyone from Justin Spiros, Corey Martin, David Hernandez, Tucker Myers. I'm naming everybody right now. Adam Choice.
Yeah.
Everyone plays a role. And it takes all of us to put these visits together, first and foremost. But being able to all work together, working with the families, there is a lot that goes into it. But we just recruit such a high caliber of young men. They make my job easy.
Yeah.
And working with them from the beginning to the end, it doesn't stop, when they leave grounds and go to the airport. Even that process, making sure they get, on their flight, landing at the airport, even a car service, getting them from the airport back to their home. Everything truly from the planning stages to them actually being here, and then once they return home.
And that's nice. That's something that we don't think about, how it just doesn't stop as soon as the game is over, getting them home. And even you just sharing that extra jewel of even when they land back home. Because I thought once I got on the plane, y'all, whoo, that was good. So it's not just that, right?
Oh, no, I have to, my phone's always on, God forbid there's a flight delay, a car's not there somehow, some way. I'm always texting all the guys, hey, just want to make sure you made it home. And pretty much 9 times out of 10, we were good. Maybe there was that one time that, we won't talk about that one, but that's all right.
Wow. So you are the head coach of visits, and you might be the mama of all recruits that don't get any credit, because you got to make sure you tuck them in once they land at home.
So I like to say I'm the auntie of the team.
Yeah.
You know, just making sure I'm cheering for them on the sidelines when they get here, but even when they're actually here on their recruiting visit.
And
You know, anything they need.
And before we let you out of here, did you at least get to enjoy the Commonwealth Cup celebration, or were you tended to recruits Saturday night?
I mean, I might have been the first one on the field when the clock hit 0-0, but made sure we got our guys on the field to celebrate with the rest of the fans.
She was the first one on and the first one off yesterday. I have Miss Karina Hargraves right here. We appreciate your time. I know you still have more to do because you never stop working.
Job's not done.
Is your phone on right now?
Absolutely.
It's on vibrate because it didn't go off while we was talking. Y'all make sure you stay tuned. We still got more on tap for the 26th edition of the Early National Signing Day. I'm Amaya Hawkins. Welcome back to the 26th edition of the Early National Signing Day. I'm your host, Amaya Hawkins, and I have the man, the architect of this Virginia Cavalier defensive coordinator, John Brzezinski. How you doing, Coach?
You're doing good, Hawk. Good to have me. Shoot, man, thanks for having me.
Hey, Coach. So, Saturday, I just want to thank you because in my years of being a part of this UVA program, I don't think I've ever seen a UVA defense dominate a hokey offense the way in which you did, holding them to under 200 yards of total offense, Coach. First of all, what were your thoughts and your feelings about bringing the Commonwealth Cup back to Charlottesville?
Yeah, well, first off, I mean, it's a testament to the young men that are here in the program. I know how important it is for them to play great football every week, but it's really special when you're fighting for the cup. And the opportunity to have it here in the building is really special. But you just look at it. The staff did a tremendous job. I just look at the defensive staff as far as putting the guys through it over and over and over. Also, but our players, how invested they are in the process. It'll be no different this week as we get ready for a really, really good Duke team and get an opportunity to go down to Charlotte and try and go 1-0.
And your defense, you had a lot of depth. Over recruiting show, and it starts with recruiting, getting these high school kids and also transfer portal guys. But can you just talk about the depth that you had to display on Saturday, missing Cam Robinson, Mattis Marcellus coming in. He even had to step out for a play. You had Caleb Hardy, who was a safety, come in as a linebacker, made a big play on drones to get you off the field. Can you talk about the depth of your defense as well?
Yeah, I think when you look at it, I mean, you hit on it. It's all about recruiting. It's all about, player retention and then development. And when you have the ability to go recruit really, really good players, from across the Commonwealth, but then from across the country, it allows you to create that competitive depth, which you referenced. And what guys take a lot of pride in the program is embracing their role. And sometimes that role changes, and it's just like staff members. Your role can change really quickly, but what you have to do is you've got to capitalize on the opportunities you have. And so names like you mentioned, like Maddox, or you talk about Caleb Hardy. I mean, those are guys that embraced being great on special teams, being great maybe in a backup role or a starter on a certain package, and then when their number was called, they're playing their best football. And it's fun to be around players that have that type of mentality.
Well, you said number was called. That's a great segue because I feel like this recruit that I want you to discuss first, it was that domino that basically once he committed, a lot of guys started to follow. And I'm talking about Bull Richardson from Verona High School. I know his name is Jay Sean, but he goes by Bull. But I just feel like he's a young man that I see him on social media very actively recruiting peers to follow him here at the University of Virginia. Can you talk about his skill set and what he brings to the table?
Yeah, I mean, we've had the opportunity to recruit Bull for a long time, and we're excited that he's a who. Again, you look at him, he's very similar to Jameer Carter, coming out of a really good high school program. You know what? He plays with tremendous power. Father's a coach, so you know that he loves ball. Yeah. And then, but his motor and his ability to, frankly, he's going to be the storm drain. Everything's going to come through him. Everything's going to come right through that middle of that defense. And so, again, he's going to play a lot of football here. You look at, when we're looking at that position at defensive tackle, we're looking for guys that, number one, have great feet, have great hands and ball get off. And then ultimately what you do is you want to see him go make some plays on the quarterback. And as an interior D lineman, he's going to make quarterbacks really, really uncomfortable here in the ACC.
Yeah, Bull is a guy that's playing on the defensive front. And I know a lot of your goal this year was for your linebackers to remain clean because those guys up front get hands on linemen and don't allow them to get to the second level. And we're going to talk about 2 second level guys. First, we're going to start with linebacker Dallas Brandon from Independence, North Carolina. What's his skill set and what does he bring to the table?
Yep, comes from great football pedigree. You know what? I think he might get his football skill set from his dad, who played, in the SEC. But he gets all that intelligence and that football IQ from his mom, Gabriel. I mean, she's the one. She's the rock there in that family. But when you look at it, another young man that when you go recruit linebackers, you first got to see a motor, and then you got to see a passion for violence. And he does. He's a sideline to sideline. He's got great feet. He's got great range. Does and again plays in one of the best high school programs there in the state of North Carolina. Good. Another one that is going to be a guy that's going to be an impact player, not only on defense but also on special teams.
Nice.
And that's the role. That's what a linebacker does. It's whatever that role is. They're going to go attack it each and every day, and love his leadership too, because you got to have leadership there at the linebacker.
Yeah, Coach Adams going to love that you talked about violence and linebackers. So you talked about Dallas Brandon being violent, but word on the street is Mr. Derek Uran is probably the most violent football player of this class. So can you talk about, I know he's violent, but can you bring other attributes to the table?
Yeah, I mean, Derek, another shoot linebacker, played there in Cincinnati, Ohio, a really, really, dominant football player, played on offense, played on defense, and he's reckless with his body. And he's flying around, making plays on special teams. He's the first one down on kickoff. And so that how important football is to him. He's been a great student. And then, frankly, he's going to have a great versatility because, again, he's one of the fastest young men in track and field there in the state of Ohio. So we're excited to get him here, get him in that weight room with Smo, and see how we can develop that body.
And, Coach, I'd be remiss if I didn't expound on something you keep saying, special teams. A lot of young athletes and young recruits don't realize that how important special teams is because they just feel like they just want to be the starter. But how important is special teams for you as a defensive coordinator for your players?
Well, I think you just look at it last night with the opportunity to play Tech. You just look at the field position. When that kickoff team, those gladiators, they run down and they pin them deep. The offensive coordinator calls it different. If we're great on punt, we'll be great on defense because they got to go a long way on that field. And so we always preach around here the ability to play complementary football. And we know that we'll play great defense if we play great special teams. And again, vice versa. The offense, they end up going 50% on third down. Well, that keeps the defense off the field and allows our guys to play 47 snaps in that rivalry game. So I'll tell you what, it's all the pieces that we got to pull together. And defensively, we just got to do our job by winning one snap at a time.
Well, one last thing, Coach, before I let you get out of here, because I respect your time, and I know you have a huge game coming up on this Saturday versus Duke for the ACC championship. Is there anything you want to say to the fans that's traveling down to Charlotte?
Yeah, let's fill up that stadium, and we're excited for the opportunity to go represent the Commonwealth, to represent the University of Virginia, and frankly, you know what, all the great people here at this university. So let's go find a way.
Well, Coach Roy, we appreciate your time. It's been great just to see how your defense has been masterful this year, but it's been great just seeing you and your staff and how you prepare and develop these young guys that are now important pieces that's helping us be a top flight defense in the country, Coach.
I appreciate it, Hawk. Go Hoos.
Yes, sir. Well, guys, I don't know about you. I always get excited talking to Coach Rudd, but we still got more on tap, so don't go anywhere on this 26th edition of the Early National Signing Day here in Charlottesville. I'm Ahmad Hawkins. Welcome back to the 26th edition of the National Early Signing Day. I'm your host, Ahmad Hawkins, here at the Hardy Football Operations Center. So I got a treat for you. I know this year our defense has been lights out, right? One of the top in the country, not only in the ACC. And I have a special guest right here, David Hernandez, the defensive recruiting coordinator. I keep wanting to call them just defensive coordinators, but we got those already. But you basically go out and you help retool what John Rosinski likes as far as defenders at different positions, right?
Yes, sir.
So how you doing?
Good, man.
I know
Appreciate
that
it.
intro was kind of long.
No, you got it.
But you know how to be like water, like Bruce Lee said, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
To
Absolutely.
play defense, you got to be able to be fluid,
No
especially
question.
playing and working for Coach Roy, right?
Yeah, it's a lot, but you know, a lot of expectations, but it's good to have demands. You know.
How has it been for you just seeing how the defense has been playing this year, just because we had a lot of transfers and things like that, and then recruiting on that aspect?
It's really cool because you like put the pieces together a little bit, and you never know how it's going to pan out.
Yeah.
So to see the success that we've had has been pretty crazy, and just to see like these guys come in one by one and see it all accumulate is really a special thing. And again, I think just playing collectively, because we're playing really, really good team defense right now, and to see these guys kind of playing without, you know, an extensive relationship together means a lot, not only just from a staff standpoint, leadership standpoint, but really all hands on deck in that aspect of things.
I mean, and we're going to go ahead, we'll just talk about Saturday night, because I know from the defensive standpoint, you know, I'm an alum. I've been watching this game, covering this game for a long time. I can't remember a defensive effort like I saw Saturday holding Virginia Tech to under 200 yards. What was that feeling like for you, just not only winning that game, but seeing how they perform?
Yeah, I mean, I was standing, like I was smiling in the stands. Obviously not getting too high.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You want to see those zeros kind of hit the clock. But no, I mean, just tremendous. And really kind of the biggest thing is being with the young kids up in the stands. Just, hey, you see this, right? Like this could be you. And I think a lot of guys kind of see that, right? Like they've wanted to see that out of Virginia, and us putting on film means a lot. And telling these kids the whole time, but personally, like outstanding. You know what I mean? That rivalry, it means a lot, you know, and I think just getting that lick back in a dominant fashion means a lot. You know, you got a lot of confidence and you're playing good ball, and just to be able to take it to them, I mean, that's a special thing, no doubt.
Yeah, you know, you talked about the recruits, right? You said young kids, so that means you're actually getting their live reactions during the game. So let's go ahead and transition. We got two signees that you're going to break down and discuss. First, we have Jaden Colville. What did you like in recruiting him, and how was his skill sets going to help, you know, bolster what we do on defense in years to come?
Yeah, first of all, I think anytime you can pull a kid from a perennial powerhouse, specifically in a dominant region of the state, means a lot.
Yeah.
Because again, it's in your DNA to be a winner, right? That's your expectation, that's your culture, that's your leadership, that's what you'll bring. So it starts with that. But shoot, for Jaden, like sweet feet, man, like man-to-man coverage, like this kid, like really, really dynamic from a coverage standpoint. Very competitive kid. Like, I mean, he wants to line it up with everybody. You know, he has a big brother playing Division I football right now, and
At what school?
at Virginia Tech. So it was truly a house divide, you know, in that aspect of things. But
Great job.
yeah, absolutely. He made a good decision. But ball skills, man-to-man, shut down man-to-man corner. Again, playing at a high level of competition for a number of years, I think means a lot. Again, tough and physical kid. I think he's really going to take advantage of the resources of the program as well. So really locked in. Glad he's coming in early. Again, I think he'll be able to take full advantage of the resources that we provide. And again, like being able to shut down things over at the beach, 757, like that means.
See, you said it. I didn't have to say it because everybody know I'm from the 7-5 and how I feel. But you said it, so continue. Sir.
That's right. That's right. No, I mean, but you see it. I mean, we're kind of making a little run. So, you know, hopefully in that area, people think about University of Virginia first before anything else.
When I got him out that cage at Oscar Smith, man, salute to him for being the Wahoo. I know his brother might be a little disappointed, but he'll live. Next up, we got Alex Dunn, another Virginia kid from Rustburg. What's your, you know, what you see with him?
Yeah, so Alex was a really cool one. You know, again, I think anytime you can find a guy that's a little bit quote unquote dominant in the rough, maybe overlooked to some extent, and being able to provide those young men opportunities is really awesome. One of the reasons that you do it. So him coming over, his recruitment was wonderful to be a part of. Super grateful kid just for his opportunities, and I think that's when you know you did it for the right person. But for him, like, I mean, I think height, weight, speed is a big thing, right? Especially at the DB position. So you're talking about a kid who has traits, length, a decorated track and field athlete. You know, kind of has that in his foundation. Rustburg's been a good program. So I think this young man has his best football ahead of him. And shoot, we watched him on tape. We were like not sure, you know, exactly what it looked like. And Coach Rudd was able to go watch a workout, came back, and he was like, yeah, gotta have him. So grateful for him to be a part of the class. And again, I think being able to find a kid that may be overlooked and believe in him, I think that's one of the most powerful things you can do to somebody is tell them that we believe in you, we want to give you an opportunity. So grateful that he's a part of the class.
Man, I appreciate your time. I love the two athletes that you broke down, because you got a DB from the 757, and then you went and got a track guy. Because I'm a track guy. I'm a track coach in high school, and I always say football players run track, and UVA, please go to 757 and get some players. And y'all did both of that. You did that, right?
Yeah, something. Team effort.
Well, David Hernandez right here. I appreciate you for taking out the time to break down and be a guest right here on the National Early Signing Day, the 26th edition. I'm Ahmad Hawkins, and we got more on tap for you. Stay tuned.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2026 version of the Early National Signing Day show. As Hawk just mentioned, Corey, you know, in the world of recruiting, the work is never truly done. The roster is always under construction, so I know we've been busy. Our staff's been busy over the last 24 to 72 hours, you know, putting the finishing pieces, putting the finishing touches on this class. You know, how do you feel about some of these recent additions?
Exciting times. Going to be good announcements here coming to Charlottesville. The Wahoo fans are going to like these additions that we got coming to the team here.
So Isaiah Harris, right, is a young man that we've been keeping around for a while here. Had him in camp, you know, been keeping tabs on him for the better part of the last year. Talk to us about what Isaiah brings to the table.
Well, number one, it's great to keep a Virginia guy in state, and especially get him here in Charlottesville, right? We want to always recruit the state of Virginia. That's our top priority. So having the caliber athlete that Isaiah is a big-time addition to our football program. Great basketball player, great football player, plays both ways, receiver, DB, he's all over the field. He's just a playmaker, so just really excited that he's joining our team.
No question. I know our staff is really fired up about just the versatility that a young man like that brings to the table. You know, you can do a lot with that type of player.
That's
really,
right.
Really excited about him. Also joined by Luke Hatfield, also staying in state, young man from Battlefield High School up in Northern Virginia. Man, really excited about Luke. Comes from a winning program. His dad's a head football coach. You know, this is a young man that's nasty, you know, on the offensive line, finishes blocks, you know, brings some versatility between playing center and guard. Really excited about Luke as well.
Yeah, you can't have enough big bodies up front, right? As we've seen this year, you know, we have to have great depth along the offensive line and quality players there. And what we love about Luke is just his position flexibility, you know, being able to play center, being able to play guard, and being a coach's son, right? There's something said for that. You know, football guy, loves football, and he'll be a great fit in our culture here and in Coach Elliott's vision for this football program.
Work's never done. These phones have been ringing the last 72 hours, putting the finishing touches on this class. This guy's been busy. You know, as Hawk mentioned earlier, he jumped right in with us in September, hit the ground running. It's been a pleasure just putting this 26 class together. And hey, now it's on to Charlotte, take care of business in the ACC championship game.
That's right. Go Hoos.
Welcome back to the 26th edition of this National Early Signing Day show. I'm your host, Ahmad Hawkins. As we continue to roll, we continue to get different people, and we have the general manager of football, women's basketball, and what else?
I help out with a ton with men's basketball and baseball from a cap management perspective.
Can you be the GM on my podcast too? Can
You got elite people on the podcast, so
Oh yeah.
I can help, absolutely.
I got Tyler Jones here. All jokes aside, definitely appreciate you,
Yes, sir.
for coming on the show. I know you're a busy man. I know you're always on the phone. You got one of them old school Bluetooth ones that got the microphone sticking down like that.
Not yet. Not yet.
You need one of them. You be an old player.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
My dad has one.
So now that we're a recruiting show, first of all, before we talk about the recruits and everything that it entails, let's go back to Saturday night.
Yeah.
As the GM, when we were winning, were your arms crossed like this as all prominent GMs, or were you just nice and chill? Because you are a former player, former wide receiver. So
Yeah.
what was your body language?
I mean, it's
like?
Watching the game, you watch it differently.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as a former player and now in the GM role, you're watching the game a little bit differently. And I use the analogy, it's like when you're a kid and you think Santa Claus is real,
Yeah.
and then when you find out that it isn't, you see it differently.
Santa Claus not real?
Exactly. So football is a little bit different now through that lens. So when I'm watching, I'm really looking at certain players, evaluating them. There's an evaluation piece when you got the lights on, and just, you know, watching them compete.
Yeah.
Because I have a front row view of the effort and the sacrifice. So to get a chance to watch them compete at a high level is super rewarding for me personally. But you do watch the game differently. You're evaluating and finding ways to improve the roster. But it is a different viewpoint than it was maybe a year or two ago.
So you just blew my mind with something. I'm watching the game and I'm evaluating to call the game with John Freeman. You're actually evaluating them while they're playing.
That's right. Yep.
Like that's different.
Yep.
That just really, and I had a mind moment. But, you know, now we, you know, talk about recruiting, like you're also there with recruits. How was there for you? Was it for you to see those young recruits on the sidelines during the game on Saturday?
It's great. It's awesome. And they're bright-eyed and excited, and to be able to experience that with them is great. And you get a chance to meet with their family and their loved ones. And the high school recruiting, I really enjoy that.
Okay.
I enjoy that aspect of it because you get a chance to spend more time with them. The transfer portal is speed dating. You're trying to build a little bit of rapport in a short amount of time. But the high school recruiting, you get a chance to meet the parents, the grandparents, the siblings, and you see them multiple times. I enjoy that. And what I share with the recruits and their family is that it's a process for them too. And I want to be a part of that process and provide them whatever information they need to make the best informed decision. But there is a deeper connection with the high school recruiting versus your portal recruiting because you have a longer window to visit with it.
And do you make it a point as a general manager? Because I know as when you remember when you were recruited to play football, you talk to your position coach, and then if you're fortunate, you talk to the head coach. When does Tyler Jones, the general manager, make a contact?
Mostly when they're on ground.
Okay.
And I'm very intentional and follow the lead of the primary recruiter, the position coach, the coordinator, and the head coach on what's the proper time for me to engage the family. And then I spend time with every young man and their family on their official visit. Okay. So that's my opportunity to sit down with them in a room and talk about our vision and what the plan is for their son or their loved one. But I do make it a point to visit with them when they're on the sidelines for unofficial visits so they understand what I'm about and what my role is, and they can ask questions in the moment. But I visit with every young man that's on their official visit. I get a chance to sit down with them, and that's my opportunity. 'Cause I don't get a chance to go on the road. Like I'm down the road. I'm not in their homes. I'm not in the high school. But when they're on grounds, that's my opportunity to evaluate them. And it's mostly around mindset. And just trying to get a sense on their love for football, their understanding of the University of Virginia, get an understanding of what's important to them.
Yeah.
But mostly when they're on grounds, I get a chance to visit.
And I know you don't travel. You just said you don't travel to visit with recruits, but we're traveling somewhere this Saturday.
That's right.
We're playing Duke in the the ACC championship. Am I trying to speed that fruition? Don't forgive me. Can you talk about how that feels from the GM standpoint of being able to represent the ACC as a champion by being a part of this championship?
It's great. It's great. And, Coach does a really good job of staying in the moment. And that's hard for me in my role because you're always projecting. You're thinking about the next roster and the next recruiting class. So he does a really good job of challenging people to stay in the moment and to really reflect on what it took to get here. And it's remarkable. And it took a ton of effort and some sacrifice. And I give a lot of credit to Coach Elliott and the staff for taking it one practice at a time, one game at a time. And we have an unbelievable opportunity on Saturday to do something special. And I'm thrilled for the staff, for the community, for the university, for Dr. Williams. But it's just one game at a time and one practice at a time, and staying in the moment is critical for that.
Well, look, I appreciate your time. I would love to continue to stay in the moment and talk to you, but you probably miss about 4 or 5
Probably
phone call since you allowed us to speak with you. So I'll shake your hand because it's an important hand to shake.
That's right.
And next up, we have head coach Tony Elliott, and this is Tyler Jones, our GM. I'm Amaya Hawkins. Stay tuned for more for the 26th edition of the National Early Signing Day. Welcome back to this 26th edition of the Early National Signing Day. I'm your host, Amaya Hawkins, and look, we had a phenomenal day. We met a lot of people, but you know, like any full-fledged concert, you wait for the main act. And this is head coach Tony Elliott, who has been smiling all season, but this smile hasn't left his face since Saturday night at Scott Stadium when he held the Commonwealth Cup in his hand. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing well.
Come on,
and
man.
you're smiling too.
Huh?
I think everybody was smiling. It was a long time coming. It was a special night, and it's what I think all of us have been envisioning. I know for this staff, this is why we came here. Scott Stadium was rocking. It was so awesome to see everywhere. Like you couldn't find anywhere in the stadium where there weren't people, and you felt it. The atmosphere was electric, and I think the byproduct was what you saw on the field. The guys fed off of that energy. They felt kind of what was at stake, and it was just awesome to be a part of that, and to not only put a smile on my face, but more importantly put a smile on the face of all of the folks that truly support Virginia football, to have bragging rights for 365 days, and then to have a chance to now welcome in some new guys, and many of them were there and got to feel what that game is supposed to be all about. And so just exciting times, and we got the opportunity that we've been working for coming up on Saturday.
And Coach, you talked about the new. But you always, since I've known you, always want to incorporate the old or the past for everybody to understand, the legacy.
That's right.
And you wore the 95 uniforms. You got the place rocking like it was back in the day, as I like to say. How does that play a role when you're recruiting a new talent?
Yeah, we're all connected, right? It's a program, and I've said that from day one. And everybody has a role, and the fans they have a role. The alums, the former players, they have a role. And, we started this season, we had Ant Harris and Chris Canty, come back and speak to the team. And we've had Chris Long and Patrick Kearney. We've had several guys come back. And we look at the helmets, like we got the old school helmet and went back to that, right? So first thing I did was I said, okay, what's the helmet of significance? And everybody said, hey, take the stripes off of it, just put the V-Saber, right? And then we went back to Chris Slade and the boys right here. Just bringing it all together, because I think at the end of the day, to win games like we won on Saturday night, and to win games, like we're going to play in this Saturday coming up, it takes everybody.
Yes, sir.
You got to know what you're playing for, and so everybody's a part of that V-Saber. So when guys put that helmet on, whether they're new guys that are coming in from the high school ranks or they're a transfer guy, I want everybody that sits in these seats behind us to know exactly what it means to represent the V-Saber.
And Coach, so Saturday marked 10 wins. It was 10 wins in that helmet. One team at 89.
There you go.
2025. How about that? Now it's 10 wins with this helmet, with the opportunity to continue, because as you stated, you're on your way to Charlotte. What's that feel like?
Oh, it's awesome, and I've been very fortunate to have been there, I think 7 times in my career. But this one's going to be special because now it's a group of individuals that all it was a dream, right? It was a dream and a vision, and a lot of sacrifice and commitment and becoming a team, tremendous leadership that set the groundwork. And they stayed committed to it day in and day out, and now they're having an opportunity to experience that championship moment. What we say in our program is we're building champion men.
Yes, sir.
Right? And so there's championship moments all throughout the day, all throughout the week, all throughout the years. But there's only a few actual championship game moments, and I'm just so happy for the staff and the players, the fans, the administration, for everybody to get an opportunity to experience that again.
I saw you coming off the bus, the Wahoo walk. this is our state, right?
Right.
It starts with the game,
That's right.
the state championship. But even before the game, it starts with winning the state and recruiting.
That's right.
The state of Virginia. How important is that for you and your staff?
It's extremely important. I've said from day one that I want to build a program from the inside out, right? From the inside out, starting with the players that are in the program thinking from the inside out, and then building it with a roster that is comprised of predominantly players from the state of Virginia, right? If possible. And we've gone to work and we've battled. And we've had to come a long way to just get into the conversation with the top players in the state, and we still got work to do, right? I want to make it extremely hard for a young man to truly justify why he needs to leave the state of Virginia to go somewhere else, right? When we say our state from an education standpoint, like, it's our state, right? There's no question about it, right? The education here at the University of Virginia is second to none. You know, it's a public Ivy League quality education. And then in that, the experience, and you know it.
Yes, sir.
Right? You've lived it.
Yes, sir.
And so you know, like, Wahoo Wah is more than just a saying. Like, it means something because of the experience here. So you're not only going to get the education, you're going to get the social growth and development, right? And challenge that's going to help you truly grow and prepare for life. So that's where it starts. And then I want players from the state of Virginia to know that they can come here and chase championships on the field, right? And so it's a win-win. And you don't need to go anywhere else to get a better education. You don't need to go anywhere else to be treated right better, because you're going to be treated extremely well here, right? You're going to be challenged, but you're going to be treated truly like my own sons, right? And that's how I challenge the staff with our guys. We're proving, right? I think 3 years ago it was a vision. Like, hey, if you come to UVA, you can have a chance to compete for an ACC championship. Well, guess what? Right? This staff, this team, this organization has proven that is a possibility. Now, we got to go take care of business on Saturday night, right? To prove that you can win a championship. But now, when we walk into to different conversations, like, tell me why.
Yeah.
Like, why do you need to leave the state to go somewhere else? And then you experience Scott Stadium, right, at its best. Connection with former players. Like, we're bringing this thing together, right, to make it a complete program. So that was the objective, and we're year by year getting closer and closer and closer to bringing it completely to fruition. But right now we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah, and I always say, before we close the air, I always ask fans and people that's listening, do you believe? And something hit me yesterday watching your post-game conference. You talked about your aunt. My aunt took me in as well and helped me truly believe in my goals. And you always talk about vision and embracing your vision and then having an opportunity. So can you take this opportunity to look right into that camera and speak to the fans about how important this game is for them to travel to Charlotte and view it in person as a Who's Take on Duke?
Right. What I would say to our fans, like I would say to the players, it's what you pray for. And you pray for a moment like this. And when you prayed, you had hope. All right. You're believing in a future that you have not seen, but you're believing that it's going to come to fruition. And now we're here. Okay. And we're going to need that stadium full of our orange, our blue, right? Creating a similar environment to what we played in last Saturday night, so that these young men, feel, right, the not the pressure, but they feel the responsibility to go out and play their best 4 quarters of football, so that not just them, but us, we can be champions.
And there you have it, the 26th edition. Hey, Coach, I got 4 plays, man. I don't know how I'm going to feel the next day of recovery, but I got 4 plays.
I take them.
All kickoff team.
I'll take them.
Well, I appreciate Coach Elliott and his time. Appreciate you Wahoo fans for tuning in for this year's edition of the National Early Signing Day. Congratulations to all the recruits and the families. And Wahoo Wah, and we'll see you down there in Charlotte on Saturday night for the ACC Championship.